Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial on chart formatting part 2. Today I will be showing you how to add a trend line with an equation and R-squared value, project the trend line, add error bars, label your data points, add a series with dashed line, and add a vertical line. So here we have a chart that shows New York City total population from 1950 to 2020, and the data was downloaded from New York City Open Data. The first thing I'm going to do is add a trend line, so make sure you click on your chart, go to chart design at the top ribbon, and then go to add chart element and hover over trend line. You can see there's a couple options here, and I'm going to press linear. So we can see the trend line pop up on the chart. Now let's format the trend line to include the equation and R-squared value. So you can double click on the trend line to have the format trend line menu bar appear. In the bar chart option at the bottom, we have a display equation on chart and a display R-squared value on chart. And I'm going to check both of these and you'll see they appeared here on the graph. So we can move the equation and R-squared so it's visible. Going to move those over, and then we can also increase the text size under the home tab, and under text I'm going to change it to 12 so we can see that more clearly. So the next thing I'm going to do is project the trend line. So click back onto your trend line. So it's the format trend line menu bar. And then under the bar chart option, there is this forecast. And you see there's forward and backward. So I'll project the trend line forward by 20 periods. And you can see our trend line extended from 2020 to 2040. So next, let's add error bars. Under chart design, go to add chart element, and over error bars, we have a couple different options, but I'm going to choose standard error. So we get both horizontal and vertical error bars. If you want both, you can leave it as is. If you only want one type, you can delete the other. So let's keep our vertical error bars. So highlight the horizontal error bars and press delete, and we see the vertical error bars stay. So on this chart, the data goes from 2020, goes to 2020. But if you look at our raw data over here, we see that we have projected estimates for total population for 2030 and 2040. So let's add these projected estimates to our current chart. So let's add a series. So we can right click on the chart, go to select data. We can add another series, and we can name this projected. And then for the X values, these will be the years. And a common mistake here is to only highlight 2030 and 2040, but that would leave a gap in our data. So make sure to select 2020 as well. And then for our Y values, select the population values that correspond to 2020, 2030, and 2040. And then press OK. And now we see the projected population on the graph. And let's differentiate the series with a dashed line. So double click on the projected population line. And in the Format Data Series menu, go to the paint bucket icon and change the line and points color to match the blue. And then go to marker, under fill to blue, and then under border to blue. And then I'm going to go back to line, and I'm going to change the dash type from solid to dashed. So now we can see we differentiated the projected population estimates. So the next thing we're going to do is add a vertical line at 2020 where the total population becomes projected estimates. So I'm going to add a vertical line series. So on the chart, going to right click, go to select data, and add a new series. This will name vertical line. And the X value will just be 2020. And the Y value will be the corresponding value, population value for 2020. And then press OK. And then highlight or click on the 2020 data point and make sure it's only highlighting the 2020 data. And then I'm going to go to add chart element. And over error bars, I'm going to add the percentage. And so we can see that clearly. I'm going to delete the horizontal error bar since we only want the vertical. And then I'm going to double click on the vertical error bar to have the format error bars menu pop up. And then make sure you're in the bar chart option. And we see this we see this error amount. And under percentage, you see that it's at 5%. We are going to change that to 100. So here the vertical line appears on our graph. This did cause a change in the y-axis values, but you can always go ahead and adjust the y-axis maximum value. So the last thing we're going to do is label the 2020 data point. So make sure you're clicked on the data point, go to Add Chart Element, and then over Data Labels, you can do a data callout. It shows that this was the New York City total population in 2020, and I'm going to move it over so it is not on top of our data. There we go. And so you can also add data labels above all the data points, and we can do that by highlighting the data series and then going to Add Chart Element, and under Data Labels, you have a couple options. I'm going to say above. So here we have all the data points, but I'm going to undo this and show you how to just add one data label. So double click on the point that you want the data label on. So I'm just going to do the beginning. So it's just highlighting one now. And then I'm going to go up to Add Chart Element, Data Labels, and again, I'm going to do it above. So now we only have one data point labeled, not the entire series. So in this video, we went through adding a trend line and error bars, adding series and vertical lines, and labeling points. If you need further help or want to learn more, go to the ERC's website at erc.barnard.edu and find the walk-in hours in the Visit Us tab. Thanks for watching.